Hi, how we doing today? There's a lot of people today that have a lot of fear of what's going on with this coronavirus. And one thing I want people to know is that fear is bondage. That's what fear is bondage. When you walk with the Lord and when you go through things, and listen, lately I've gone through some personal tragedy myself. The Lord He's dealing with the whole house of Israel. Not only Israel, He's dealing with all these other nations. You see, most people don't have faith because the Bible says that faith cometh by hearing, and hearing come by the word. And most people on this earth, they're hearers of the word, but not doers of the word. And then they wonder why they're so afraid. This coronavirus, not only just coronavirus, the fires, the frogs, the locusts. You have a lot of locusts that are all over what you would call Africa, a lot of locusts that are all over what you would call China. You understand? There's locusts that have come into what you call Dubai or Saudi Arabia, which is our land. The Israelites, Jacob's children. This whole earth is going through pains because of Israel, Jacob's children, and people don't know because they have no wisdom. Wisdom comes from above. You get it from the Lord. So what I want to do is read a couple of scriptures and explain to you what's going on because people don't know. The coronavirus is basically a virus. Now, they say it's a new virus. Now, the reason they say it's a new virus because actually the name coronavirus is an old term. And that term was used, actually, I think it was in the early 80s they used it. And there was a book that was written that talks about the virus. People have to understand that this virus is what they call a smart virus. This virus is actually directing itself towards certain individuals and certain people. People don't understand that another thing that's going to happen with this virus, because all of this is playing into Bible prophecy. You got to read Ezekiel 38 and 39. And when that happens, the Lord said that his mountain, his holy mountain, which is in Israel, Russia, Iran, and China, when they join, which we know they've joined, that when they go to battle against the what you call fake Jews over there, in Revelation 2:9, it tells you, I know your poverty, I know your tribulation, and I know you're poor. Now he's talking about Jacob's children, what you would call the Negroes, or what they would deem as sub-Saharan African. That these children would be stepping over bodies. But the Lord said, I know your poverty, I know your tribulation, I know you're poor, but yet you're rich. Why? Because we have the promise. Remember in Genesis 15, Abraham went into a deep sleep. And when he went into that deep sleep, he was told that his children would go into a land that them or their forefathers never knew. They would be there for over 400 years. We just went over a 400-year anniversary. The Negroes. We came here in 1619 on the good ship Jesus. Now, a lot of people are going to catch this virus. But I do believe that a lot of our people will not catch it. And the ones that do catch it is for a reason. Either they're in Babylon. Remember, he said, get out of Babylon. Don't do what she do, or you'll take on her plagues. Either they're doing those things, or either they have genes or genetics where there's a judgment. I remember there was a basketball player recently that he caught the coronavirus. And my friend said, I thought you said the Negroes weren't going to catch it. I said, well, I said those who are not right will catch it. And not only that, if the Lord wants to do judgment and give it to certain individuals, because sometimes what he'll do, just like he did in Noah's time, remember Methuselah and Noah, those were the only two living when the floods came that were righteous before the floods came. He took all the other wise men away for a reason. He didn't want them to see what was coming on the earth. Just like in Noah's time, when all the sin, the demons and the people who are doing all these demonic things, homosexuality, men who are sleep with other men's wives, women on women, men on men, and there's a lot of pedophilia now, where actually people are sleeping with children and they made it a law. Canada legalized bestiality. So you can legally marry a dog or a cat and have sex with an animal in Canada. Why do you think the fires have been ravaging them? Why do you think they have a great plague? When you go into Iran, these are the Persians. These are the ones that the Lord said will help us. Right now, they have a major outbreak. This is for a reason. A lot of this things what you see right now is so that when people see it all coming on the earth, they realize that this is real. The Lord has shown me so many things. I don't waver from the right or the left. When I had my personal tragedy, the Lord showed me why he did what he did. He showed me. The Lord does not do anything without reason. And what he says, his ways are equal and our ways are unequal. This coronavirus is strategically attacking certain people. It's called a smart virus. The coronavirus is similar to the AIDS virus. That, and when I say that, is that it attacks the immune system the same way. There's a big difference, though. This virus is actually airborne by sneezing, or if you touch it. Now, eating, that doesn't give it to you. What gives it to you is when you touch something. You touch your face or your eyes. Now, the basketball player that I was talking about, and I asked my friend, he said, you said the brothers and sisters. I said, well, I only repeated what the Chinese said. The Chinese said that if you are African American or Jacob's children, basically, he said that when they tested us, that our immune system is actually 3 times stronger than any other race. Not only that, they say our melanin protects us from the coronavirus. Now, immediately, the media and all of them try to debunk it. Now, when you first saw the map of the coronavirus, you would notice something. You notice that every nation, except for Africa and South America, was in red. And then all of a sudden, you would see, because there was no Negroes or black people catching on camera. Now, you got to say this in China. Now, in China, where the outbreak happened, there were some children or kids from Cameroon, and these kids were students. One of them caught it, but I don't know if they gave it to him or whatever, but 2 days later, he was healed. And that's when they told us that our immune system is 3 times stronger, and it's harder for African Americans to catch it. So when the basketball player caught it, I'm like, wait a minute, something's not right. So when my friend called me, he said, Lo, you told me that we couldn't catch it. I said, wait. I didn't say we couldn't catch it. I said what I said was, those who are sinning, remember the Lord say, get out of Babylon, or you're going to catch your diseases or a pestilence. So if you out there sinning, you opening yourself up. It's almost like when you go to Leviticus 11:11. That's where the Lord tells us exactly how to eat. In Egypt, when they caught the plagues, they were eating shrimp, scallops, pig, all of that. And guess what? They caught pestilence. People don't understand what the Spanish flu was in 1918 or 1919. This flu came through just like the coronavirus. You understand? But one thing about that flu epidemic was this. It spread about, but it wasn't as bad as this virus right here. It killed more people. I believe it was 10 times more deadly. But I think over time, this is going to surpass the Spanish flu. Why? Because there is no vaccinations for it. The only way that you can get a vaccine, you understand, you have to basically find a host. You got to get the antibodies built up, and that's the only way that you can build a vaccine. Now, the WHO, or World Health Organization, said that it would take almost a year to a year and a half to even get a vaccine. Now, the Bible spoke of this already. We already knew this was coming. If you have eyes to see and ears to hear, and if you follow the Lord, and if you don't waver from the right to the left, you already knew this was coming. We already knew this was coming. My friend said, you know what, Lo? I used to think you were crazy. He just told me this today. I used to think when you were saying that, martial law was going to come in and that the government was going to come in and these other nations were going to, catch disease that was going to fall, that the Lord was doing all of this for his children who are the Israelites today. He said, I thought you were just talking. He said, but man, everything you've been telling me for the last 5 years, I'm seeing it. I said, well, buddy, get your popcorn out. Because this is real right now. We got to understand that the Lord chose Amos 3:5 and Deuteronomy 7:6, said he chose a certain people. When I asked my friend to go look at that basketball player who caught the coronavirus, I said, I want you to look and see. Now, I'm only saying this not because I'm racist or because I'm biased, because I love all people who love Yeshua, who love the Messiah. All people. I don't have that bone in my body. And I'm going to tell you something. When I went through my personal tragedy, the person you call Esau, the white man, was the one who helped me out. So I don't have time for that. But what I do know, in the book of Obadiah, there's a judgment for a certain race of people. There's a judgment. But that doesn't mean all people of that race are going to die, because there's so many good people of every race. And that's what people miss the point. You see, people don't have what you call, in the Bible, calls charity. Now, I know when you hear that word charity, You've been taught that charity means to give money, to give alms. But if you go into the Greek and the Strong's Concordance, you learn that charity is love. And the biggest thing we got to have in this time and this day is love, because that's going to separate the wheat from the tare, which is in Ezekiel 39. If you don't have love in this time to help people out, if you don't have love in your heart to make sure that in this time that you're separated from the sinners, because right now, the Lord is doing a major separation. I want you to know this. There's a major separation going on right now. A lot of the wicked are going to die. Now, if you notice with this coronavirus, a lot of the head politicians are catching it. They're catching the virus. And when my friend checked out the basketball player, he found out that his mother was actually white. And that's why I said that it's not attacking really our people, because the Lord said in these days we'll be stepping over bodies. Now, why you say these days? Well, let's break it down real quick. What happened in Egypt? In Egypt, they had 10 plagues. They had a frog god, so he brought the frogs. Another thing in Egypt they worshiped the water god, Isis. So he made the water turn to blood. Another thing he did, and everyone knows about this, he brought the locusts to consume their fields. He said first you'll have the hoppers, then you have the crawlers, and then you'll have what? The locusts. They go into 3 phases. If you go on to YouTube and you look at Saudi Arabia, which is our land, the Negroes are Jacob's children's land. As a matter of fact, Mount Horide, where we actually went and Moses split the rock, is right there in Saudi Arabia. They just had locusts so bad that you could not see the sky. They sprayed the air, and guess what happened? They sprayed so many toxins that the camels died. The locusts did not just consume the fields in what you would call East Africa. Because remember, a lot of us and a lot of the people who actually sold us, what I would call Jacob's children, or the 12 tribes, they sold us. We came out of what you call East Africa, and we were sold into West Africa, and we were shipped out. A lot of this is just judgment on the people who sold the Lord's children. Why do you think the Lord's children are not truly catching this virus? It's for a reason. He's doing a separation. There's a book you need to read. The book's called The American Holocaust. The American Holocaust lets you know that America, the land that you're in right now, that there was 180 million of Jacob's children, Israelites. They're called Indians or indigenous people. Matter of fact, the boxer Jack Johnson, he said that the reason that he dated people of other colors was for one reason. He said, this is our land. I'm an Indian, and we've been here. I've been here for 2,000 years. There's another book you can read. It's called the Book of Mormon. It gives you all the history of our people. Of course, Joseph A. Smith put his name in it, but it has nothing to do with our people. Mor means what? Black. Mon means what? It's a Middle English. It means man. Mormon, black man. That book goes into all the tribes, just like when in 1619, when a lot of the blacks came on a good ship, Jesus, in 1619, they came because those were the Jews who were pulled out of West Africa from the land of Judea. The rest of the people who were in America, when Christopher Columbus' brother came through America, what was the first thing he said he saw? He said, I see the same indigenous people as I see in Africa. He said, wow. Well, when you read American Holocaust, you'll find out something. You'll find out when the conquistadors got off the ships, there was 4 sailors that started coughing. Sounds familiar? They're coughing now. When they started coughing, immediately 140 million people within a short period of time were dead. 100 million Israelites or Negroes were dead. Indigenous people. These are the same people, what you call on the Trail of Tears. When they went through the Trail of Tears, and they moved up where? To Oklahoma. Oklahoma. And what did they build? They built a city. It was called Black Wall Street. These are Indians, indigenous people. These are your people, my people. But these people were killed off. And before all of that happened, they were killed with disease, 140 million. And when 140 million, when you read American Holocaust, and now you can get it on Kindle. You could actually get a free sample on Kindle. But when 140 million people died, guess what happened? The Europeans came in. And when they came with 100 horses. They came in with 20 soldiers. They would come in with 100 soldiers. They would come in at least 20 horses, and they would come in with 20 pit bulls and bull mastiffs. And what they would do is put armor on them. And when they put the armor on them, guess what? They would teach them how to eat people alive. So they said one lady, the soldiers was writing this. Now I want you to know why there's judgment. This is the only reason I'm going into this. There's judgment for many reasons on this earth. Not with just Esau, our brother, the white man, but there's also judgment with the Chinese. Because if you go to China and you look at their history and look up large statue in China, you'll see a black man who was about 15 stories tall carved into a mountain. If you look at the Chinese writing, and if you look at Japanese writing, you see pictographs. If you knew Paleo-Hebrew, because I've studied Paleo-Hebrew, middle and late, you'll learn that those pictographs are actually Paleo-Hebrew letters. Because the ancient Japanese and Chinese were actually Israelites. That's why Buddha got nappy hair. He wasn't called Buddha until the 14th century. A long time ago, they actually worshiped him as the Messiah. But you got to do your history to know this. The Lord say, my people perish for lack of knowledge. So right now with this coronavirus, it's here for a reason. That's why they call it a smart virus. The coronavirus, people can have it for 3 weeks. Excuse me, I take that back. They said they'd do a 2-minute trial. Then they found out after the 2 weeks that people still had it after 30 days. Even after 30 days, when they catch the virus and they get rid of it, they said it comes back. Why? There's no antibodies built up and there's no vaccines. The only one who seem to have a natural ability to beat this virus are the Israelites or Jacob's children. And also some of Ham's children, of course, if you have melanin in your skin. Now, I'm going to read a scripture to you. I'm going to read some scriptures here. I'm going to read just a couple. I'm going to go to Psalms 105. And I'm going to put this in context. Because my people perish, as the Lord say, for lack of knowledge. When I just lost my 2 sons in a car accident, most of the time that would cheer someone up. People say, I don't even know how you talk, how you walk, how you even move. Well, let me tell you, my brothers and sisters, I have faith. I don't waver to the right or to the left. I have faith. I know my Father don't make mistakes, so if he did it for reasons. I don't question him. The only thing I do is they say that time heals all wounds. Well, when you lose kids, time ain't healing that wound. You get a scab on it, and that's it. Just a scab. But love. And, when you read Revelation 2, Christ say his tongue is like a double-edged sword. It cuts like a knife. Also, you read that the word is what? Living waters. And those living waters wash the pain away. I don't care how heavy it gets. He will not put more on you than you can bear. So he knows what I can handle. He knows also another thing. My faith ain't going nowhere. Never. Because I'm a learned man, and I've been reading these scriptures for the last 7 years, day in and day out. And I'm going to read some to you right now for all you who are afraid. Because there's too many of our people and listen, it's not just the Negroes who don't have to be afraid. The whites, the Indians, the Chinese, the Latinos, the Orientals, anyone who follows Christ. Second Baruch say all those who treat us right and didn't know who we were. And if they didn't know who we were and didn't do any harm to us, the Lord said they'll be in the kingdom. But all those who killed his children, remember Deuteronomy 28:68 said that we'll be put on ships and taken to what? The 4 corners of the earth. And we'll be sold as bondmen and bondwomen. He said you have a wife, but you won't see her. You have a daughter, but she'll be sold. Matter of fact, he said we're going to buy our bread by weight. Go look at your bread right now and look at the weight. Everything that's coming on this earth is Bible prophecy. Our people perish for lack of knowledge, and our people also, another thing, they have no love. Everyone, and especially when it comes to our Israelites or our brothers and sisters, they're like Pharisees and Sadducees. Everyone's puffed up, thinking they know everything. When the Pharisees tried to trick him up, and they were watching him, I think that actually was his disciples. And the children came up, and they were shooing him away. His disciples shooing him away. He said, wait, bring him here. Sit him down. He said, unless you become like one of these children, you can't get in the kingdom. We have to throw everything we think we know out the window and know that we have to be humble. We have to know that when life throws us fire, because the Lord says children are tried by what? Fire. You got living waters, baby, to push that fire out. But if you don't know the word, if you're not reading to keep your armor up, and if you're not reading and studying, you don't know anything that's going on right now. The Lord say we, the Negroes, the Israelites, will be stepping over bodies. He also said another thing. All those other people who follow him of other races who are going to serve us as handmaids and servants, they will not be touched either. So why you have fear? You only got fear because you have no faith. You don't have any faith because you're not reading. Faith comes by hearing, and hearing comes by the word. Read, and then your faith will come up. I'm going to read Psalms 105. Let me go ahead and read for you. Oh, give thanks unto the Lord, and call upon his name. It says, make known his deeds among the people. Sing unto him, and sing psalms unto him. Talk, ye of all the wondrous works. Glory, ye in the holy name. Let the heart of them rejoice and seek the Lord. Seek the Lord in his strength, and seek his face evermore. Remember his marvelous works that he has done, his wonders and his judgments and his mouth. His judgments of his mouth. O you seed of Abraham, his servants, you children of Jacob. Get a King James 16:11. Not a New World Order or New World Translation. Not a Bible that's an NIV. Get you a King James 16:11 so you truly get who the Lord was talking to and what the word is really saying. Our people have been tricked. Let me keep reading here. Oh, you seed of Abraham. Verse 6. I'm in Psalms 105, verse 6. Oh, you seed of Abraham, his servants, you children of Jacob, his chosen. He is the Lord our God. His judgments are in all the earth. That's what's going on right now. His judgments in all the earth. Let's keep reading. He has remembered his covenant forever, the word which he has commanded to 1,000 generations. So, you know what that saying says, his word goes out, but it doesn't come back void? He says to 1,000 generations. This is right now. Let me keep reading. 9. Which cannot, it says, which covenant he made with Abraham and his oath unto Isaac, and confirmed the same unto Jacob for a law. See, the laws was given to Jacob's children. You see, other nations are not under these laws. He only gave them, Deuteronomy 7:6 and Amos 3 and 5, say they only gave them to a certain people. So now what's going to happen with this coronavirus, it's going to be so bad that everyone's going to start acknowledging who the Lord's true children are. Folks, it's not going to get better. This is a pathway to the end, as the Lord said. They've suspended all sports events. They've suspended most schools. And if you have your money in the bank, I'm just be honest with you, I don't think it's going to be there. 401ks are going to be wiped out. They're going to be wiped out. You got to be smart in these times. The Lord said we have to be like pilgrims. We have to know how to move around. Let me keep reading. 10. And confirmed the same unto Jacob for a law, and to Israel for an everlasting covenant. So he gave it to Jacob for a law, and to Israel. That's the 12 tribes. Let's keep reading. Saying unto thee, will I give the land of Canaan, the lot of your inheritance, when they were but a few men in number, yea, very few, and strangers in it, when they went from one nation to another, from one kingdom to another people. He suffered no man to do them wrong. Yea, he reproved kings for their sakes. You see, the Most High used to be with us before we sinned. And when we sinned, we were thrown into captivity. And when that happened, he stopped basically working for us. We were under curses. But see, now, after the 400-year anniversary, the curses are being lifted now. You understand? I think it was Genesis 15 says after that 7 years, that now the curses, after the 400 years, that curse is now going to fall on the other nations. That's why you see what's going on all around the world right now. He's put the curses on all the other nations now. Let me keep reading. 15, saying, touch not my anointed, and do no prophets no harm. Because he said the Jews, or the Negroes, those are his true prophets. They're the ones who are going to be telling what's coming, and they're going to be telling how it's coming in these last days. Let me keep reading. 17, he sent a man before them, even Joseph, who was sold for a servant, whose feet they hurt with fetters, and was laid in iron until the time that his word came. Let me keep reading. Of the Lord, and tried him. 20. The king sent and loosed him, even the ruler of the people, and let him go free. 21. He made him lord of his house and the ruler of all his substance, to bind his princes at his pleasure, and to teach the senators wisdom. Israel also came into Egypt, and Jacob sojourned in the land of Ham. And he increased his people greatly and made them stronger than their enemies. He turned their heart to hate and his people to deal subtly with his servants. He sent Moses, his servant, and Aaron, whom he had chosen. They showed the signs among them and the wonders in the land of Ham. He sent darkness and made it dark, and they rebelled not against his word. He turned their waters into blood. Are the waters not turned into blood into Iran, China? Go to YouTube and look at just type in Iran, waters turned to blood. China, water turned into blood. Italy, water turned into blood. Just go around the world. The waters are turned to blood. The same plagues that were in Egypt are here right now. Let me keep reading and see if any of this sounds familiar to you. He turned the waters into blood and slew their fish. Now, how many times you read that there's green algae or algae and the fish are dying? There's a major fish die off. The Lord said in these last days he was going to kill 3/4 of the animals. That's why there's a major, just go to YouTube, go to Google and Google die-offs in the earth and see how it has exponentially increased in the last few years, almost 20-fold. This is this prophecy playing out. Let me keep reading. It says it says also in their land he brought forth frogs in abundance. Go to YouTube, look up China and see how many frogs has hit China. Look up the locusts. Look up the fires. We already know about the fires. Australia, they came in and killed so many of our people. They killed a whole island of Tasmania. The whole island. There was no people left there anymore. That's why. And then people don't know in Australia, that's actually the British colonies. That was their prisoners. They just released them in Australia. Let me keep reading. 30. Their land brought forth frogs in abundance in the chambers of their kings. 31. He spake, and there came diverse sorts of flies and lice in all their coasts. He gave them hail for rain. Now, one thing you'll read, the Lord tells you that he reserved the hail for the end times. So when you see hail, you know that he reserved it for the end times. And flaming of fire in their land. How many times have we seen fire in Australia, California, all over the world? Remember the first time with Noah, as we read, he brought the floods. But he gave us a rainbow to remind us one thing. He'll never flood the earth again. But he said this time in the last days, I'm going to do it with fire. And that's why you see so many fires clearing out the land. You see also hills melting. He said he's going to make the hills melt like wax. Everything is Bible prophecy. Get your popcorn out because it's playing out. Let me keep reading. Psalms 105, verse 32. He gave them hail for rain, and flaming fire for their land. He smote their vines also, their fig trees, and brake their trees of their coast. And when you go to California, you see how many grapevines and vineyards was burnt up? Let me keep reading. 34. He spake, or he spoke, and the locusts came. Are we not seeing an invasion of locusts in West Africa? An invasion of locusts into what we call Saudi Arabia, which is our land where Mount Horide is. An invasion of locusts into Iran. We got the coronavirus right now in Iran. Iran is so bad right now, the coronavirus. They've actually closed it off completely. Thousands have died. Right now in Italy, the last time I looked, it was 630. When we look at the world right now in China, they'll tell you there was only 2,000 so people died, but that's not true. I have a video where one lady said in 1 week, they know for sure in 1 week, 100,000 people died in a week. That's why the World Health Organization, the head man said that that virus is 10 times stronger than what you would call the flu. This is serious, people. People got to come out of sin. They got to stop hating each other because, their race, their color, and all. Listen, you're not getting into the kingdom. When Christ comes down, you go to Revelation 21, everybody's telling you that, we go to heaven. There's no such thing as you going to no heaven. That's not what's in the scriptures. The scriptures tell you in Revelation 21, there's a kingdom. That kingdom's called New Jerusalem, and it's been prepared in heaven. And in that kingdom, there's 12 gates. And on the 12 gates, there's 12 angels guarding them. And on that kingdom, there's 12 names written on there. That's the 12 tribes of Israel. People, you've been lied to. You got to understand that the things you've been taught are lies. And right now, the Lord's hand is on this earth. Judgment is here. I'm going to keep reading. 34. And he spake, and the locusts came, and the caterpillars without number. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Let me keep reading. And they did eat up all the herbs in the land, and devoured the fruit and the ground. He smote also the firstborn in their land, and the calf, and all their strength. So there's a lot of children that are going to be dying. There's a lot of elderly that are going to be dying. Just like then is just like now. What he did, listen, the Lord doesn't change. He doesn't change. Just like he did back then, he's doing it right now. You know, Egypt caught 10 plagues. But the Lord said, America, the daughter of Babylon, going to catch 250. We got AIDS. You understand? You got herpes. All these are plagues. Syphilis. All these are plagues that man made and created. But the Lord said he was going to do something. He said they're going to create a strange device, but this is what I'm going to do. He said what I'm going to do with this strange device, I'm going to turn it on them. He said what they try to create to destroy my children, it won't work. Let me ask you a question. Do they not go in Africa and give them they put the Ebola virus in Africa? You had scars, herpes, AIDS. And it's ironic that now when they want to picture Africa and South America were the only two continents where you didn't see this disease. And now what people don't understand and know, that when Africa actually lit up in South America, those are tourists from China, Italy, and also what you would call Esau, Caucasians, that are in that land. That's why it's lit up. The indigenous people are not catching it. And if they do, we also know another thing with Ham's children. They sold the Lord's children. That's why the locust is over there. A lot of people say, we need to run to Africa. We need to run. You run over there. You go ahead and run. You go ahead and run. I'm saying my butt still. Deuteronomy 30. When you go to Deuteronomy chapter 30, it tells you that the Lord is going to gather his children from the four corners of the earth, from the outermost part where they've been scattered through slavery. He said he's going to gather them. Man can't save you. A lot of people think that they can be saved by men. This is a spiritual battle going on right now on this earth. The only thing can save you is your faith. Understand me. When you go to James, 2 James, and I believe it's chapter 14 through 15, you'll learn that in 2 James it teaches you that faith without works is dead. You can't have faith without works. You gotta, that's why the Lord said you gotta study to show yourself to be approved. There's a lot of people gonna die because they have no faith and no wisdom. But let me keep reading here. 36. We're in Psalms 105. I'm on verse 36 right now. He smote also the firstborn in their land, and chief in their strength. He brought them forth, also with silver and gold, and there was not one feeble person among their tribes. You see that? He said there was not one feeble person. Even when we went to go into battle, we would lose nobody unless there was sin in the camp. And there was sin amongst the people. Just like now, people will not die. You will not, nothing will happen to you unless you're sinning. You got to come out of sin. My buddy told me today, he goes, when you told me years ago all this was going to happen, I thought that you were just running your mouth. I felt like you were just talking. I said, buddy, listen, when I speak, when you go to the scriptures, and the scriptures will tell you that the pastors scatter the sheep. Micah 3:11 say each one is gained of a quarter. Isaiah 56:10 say they won't even bark. All of this is for a reason. When I speak, I don't speak as a man. I speak from the word of the Lord. I don't regurgitate what I think or what I say. I'm going to read. If it's not in the scriptures, I'm not saying it. Everything that's going on right now is written in this book. Get your King James 16:11 and start reading. Because I'm telling you right now, it's not getting better. If it's getting better, that means the Lord's word has gone out and it's coming back void. He says when this starts, it's going to be a whirlwind. And that's when he's coming back for his children, Ezekiel 38 and 39. That's when Gog, Magog, and Moab, Russia, Iran, and China are going to join. And when they join, they're going to go against the fake Jews in Revelation 2:9 that he speaks about. And once they come against his holy mountain, he said it's called a feast of the Lord, the feast of the birds. Because that day, that's when what we call chariots, they call them UFOs. We know what they are. They're chariots. They're going to come from the heaven because the Lord sees a jealous God, and that's his mountain. And they're going to destroy him. And that self-same moment, Yeshua and Michael and the angels are going to come. And you know what they're going to look like? Because the Lord showed it to me in a vision. They're going to look like locusts coming. That's how many coming. And ain't nothing nobody can do. And in that moment when they come, he said at the last trump, he said those who died in his name are going to be risen. And then those who pierced his side are going to be risen to see that Messiah is risen. And then all the house of Israel will be taken up. That's your rapture. Ain't no such thing as the church. Who's the church? Revelation 2 tells you 7 churches of Ephesus was the Israelites, Jacob's children. We are the church. We're the third temple. Not what they say they're building and putting a spring under to lift up and fool people. We are the third temple. That's why we have a protection that people can't grasp unless they're spiritual. This protection is holy. We have to come back to this word. No, just like in Noah's time, when everything reached to heaven, it's done the same thing again. Homosexuality is at a record rate. Matter of fact, they make it like it's no big deal on TV. In 1918, the men walked around in long johns under their pants, their trousers. Next thing you know, the women are walking around with them. They call them Spanx in the 80s. Now they walking around with them. They call them spandex. You see everything they came to the world with. Everything's reached to heaven. People don't understand what's going on. See, the Lord's eyes are not like our eyes. He don't move like us. He don't think like us. His time is not like our time. A day is 1,000 years with him, and 1,000 years is a day. But he said he's going to do some of these last time. He's going to speed up time because they're going to try to make a strange device and kill his saints. So we're going to speed up for his saints' sakes because he's not going to let them kill his children. They've tried over the years. Don't think this virus is natural. It's man-made. It's man-made. But the Lord said he's going to take their sword and turn it on them. Let me keep reading. Psalms 105, verse 37. He brought them forth also with silver and gold, and there was not one feeble person among the tribes. Egypt was glad when they departed, for the fear of them fell upon them. So Egypt was happy when we left. Just like in America, they're going to be happy when we get out of here and be given our gold and silver and be sent back home, as the scriptures say. Why? Because the Lord said that their children are going to be dying. The old is going to be dying. Remember when he came in Deuteronomy 30, when he said we'd be brought here to America, to the 4 corners of the earth, actually the 4 corners of the earth on ships? He said that they wouldn't care for the old, the young, or the infants. They don't. That's why when Dave Chappelle said something on his comedian show, he said, I kind of feel like the folks fell on us back then. He said, the white people and everybody didn't care about us. He said, so I'm going to tell you how I feel. I don't care what's going on. Now, he said that in a joking manner, because if you got any love in you, you never want to see anybody's children die. You don't want to see no race go through something. But we know this is just Bible prophecy. There's nothing we can do about this. You understand? 39, 105, Psalms 105, 39. I'm still reading. Egypt was glad when they departed. It says, 39, and he spread a cloud for the covering and fire to give light in the night. The people asked, and he brought quails, and they satisfied them with bread of the heaven, because he fed us manna, and we'll be eating manna again. Because I'm telling you, this food it's already contaminated, and most people eat things they shouldn't be eating. Let me keep reading. He opened the rock, and waters gushed out, and they ran into the dry places like a river. Now, if you go to YouTube and you look up the real Mount Horide, or Mount Horide, it's in Saudi Arabia. You'll see the rock that he split for his people. Not only that, you'll see the 12 wells. You'll see the 12 palm trees. And one more thing you'll see. When you go to that video, you'll see there's 3,000 graves outside of that area. When they built that calf to Baal, they were killed. It's all right on YouTube. So go ahead and look and understand this. Just like when they were sinning back then and they were killed, his children are going to die the same way today. Don't think you're exempt because you are Israel. You're going to get it first. He said he's going to visit his house first. You're going to get it. Let me keep reading here. 40. The people asked, and he brought quails and satisfied them. 41. He opened a rock, and waters gushed out, and ran into dry places. 42. For he remembered his holy promise, and Abraham his servant. 43. And he brought forth his people with joy, and his chosen with gladness. And he gave them the lands of the heathen, and they inherited it, and the labors of the people, that they might observe his stature and keep his laws. Praise ye the Lord. Listen. He said that they may keep his laws. You see, the Lord's children have been told that they're from Ham and that they're cursed. Well, we're actually from Shem, and we're actually blessed because we got the promise. So he said that these people was given laws. That's why Christ said in Matthew 24, I didn't come to do away with the laws, not one dot, not one tittle. I came to fulfill the laws. Now, we're not under the letter of law. We're not under Moses' laws, which means that you were judged instantly by 3 or more witnesses, 2 or more witnesses. We're not like, now we got grace, repentance, and salvation. But just like Noah said, man will perish because they will not repent. John the Baptist said this in Revelation. Man will not make it because they will not repent. If you have anything going on, I beg you, I beseech you, go in that closet, not in front of men, and repent of your sins. Because if you don't, you're going to go down with all these plagues and pestilence. I'm going to read another one. I'm going to read Psalms 91. It'll be the last scripture I'm going to read. Because I want you to understand about this pestilence. Psalms 91. If I'm not mistaken, it's 91. I believe that's it. Psalms 91. It's pretty short, but I'm going to read it for you real quick. He that dwelleth in secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, he is my refuge and my fortress, my God. In him will I trust. Surely he shall deliver thee from the snare and from the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. You get that? Noisome pestilence. Everyone's talking about this pestilence. Everybody's talking about it. Coronavirus is pestilence. In the last days, AIDS, herpes, all that's pestilence. This virus is pestilence. This is a smart virus. This virus is only attacking certain people. And I'm sorry to say certain races. Just do your math, look it up, and look at the people who've actually caught it. Now, this virus also is doing another thing. It's clearing out the elderly, what we call the baby boomers. Those people who benefited from what we call the Jim Crow era. How many people could get loans, military loans, but we couldn't? Right now today, go to the bank, try to get a loan. See how easy it is. We had a lady who had an 820 or so. She had about 70,000 in the bank. And they still gave her a hard time because of her name. I think it was Shaquita. But anyway, they gave her a hard time. I'm going to read Psalms 91. He that dwelleth in secret places of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, he is my refuge and my fortress, my God. In him will I trust. Verse 3. Surely he shall deliver thee from the snare, from the fowler, and from the noisome pestilence. 4. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. So you got to have faith. He will cover you with his feathers. You got to have trust. As I'm reading here in Psalms 91, verse 4. It says here, and under his wings shalt thou trust. His trust shall be thy shield and thy buckler. You see, when you trust the Lord and when you have faith, that's that armor I was telling you about. When you don't study, when you don't read the word, and you don't pick up the book, it becomes plastic. Huh? But when you pick this word up, what does he do? It becomes steel. And remember, he refines us like what? Gold and silver. How do you refine gold and silver? You got to go through what? The fire, which is what we're going through right now with this pest. You can't even get toilet paper in the stores. It's hard to get supplies. I had one young lady just came on and said, listen, I just heard my people called me from the Pentagon. They also called, 2 people called me from the military and said in 2 weeks' time, this was yesterday, in 2 weeks' time that the government is going to suspend. And what they're going to do is they're going to close the whole United States down. The stores will be closed. Nobody can go to anywhere where you can pick up money or touch anything. So basically everyone will be quarantined at home, just like they did in China. Just like they did in China. So people, you got to understand this is serious. You don't have supplies, go get them. If you don't have toilet tissue, good luck, because you can't find it. Bleach is out. Hand sanitizer's out. You understand? You can take aloe gel and you can take alcohol and you can make hand sanitizer. So it's pretty simple. But a lot of things are running out. And if you don't have wisdom, if you don't have this word, you will not know what's going on. If you're afraid of the coronavirus, I beseech you to pick the Bible up. Start learning who the Most High is. Learn who his children are and learn why this is happening on this earth right now. It's happening because of his children and a promise he made. I'm going to keep reading. This is Psalms 91 verse 4. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and thy buckler. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor from the arrow that flieth by day, nor the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor the destruction that waiteth at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy side. 1,000 shall fall. You're going to see people dying everywhere around you. Did not the World Health Organization guy just say that you're going to lose loved ones? There's going to be a lot of your loved ones dying. This is what scriptures are saying. I'm reading it to you right now. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh to thee. It won't touch you. If you don't have faith and you're always afraid, fear is bondage. You cannot have fear when you walking with the Lord. In this time, if you don't know the word, and if you sit and listen to these pastors, and there's some good pastors, don't get me wrong. If you listen to these camps, and a lot of these camps are teaching hate, so that's why Christ will say, get away from me. I never knew you. You can't teach that stuff. Who are you following? Christ only spoke one time to a woman. He said, get away from me. When she was following them, he said this to her. The disciple said, can you talk to her? He looked back at her. He said, I don't cast my pearls to dogs. Matthew 20. This is in Matthew. He said, I only came for the house of Israel, our people. Now we know that the Gentiles were grafted in because our people sinned so much. So that a lot of them will be getting in also, but they got to treat us right in these times. They got to give us our wealth back, which they won't do. That's why Christ come back to give it to us. He said the Persians will. That's Iran. That's why they're going through hell right now. They're going through it for a reason, because the Lord wants them to know that his word goes out, but it doesn't come back void. They're going to say, wait, we're going through so much. We got to acknowledge who the Lord's children are. The same thing's going to happen with Esau. The same thing with the Japanese. Everybody's going to acknowledge who the Lord's children are. Let me keep reading. Psalms 91, verse 7. I'm going to go verse 8. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see thy reward of the wicked. So we're going to see the reward of the wicked. That's why I say you don't want to be sinning right now. You need to repent and come out of sin. Because I'm telling you, he's killing people left and right now. Because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come near to thy dwelling. He didn't say come to you. He said it's not going to come near to your dwelling when you follow him and his son. Because remember, you can't get to the kingdom unless you go through the Messiah. People, you got to get this. And a lot of people are going to perish. Let me keep reading. Psalms 91, verse 11. For he shall give his angels charge. This is why it won't touch you, and it won't touch a lot of Israel. He says he's going to give his angels charge to keep thee in all thy ways. Verse 12, they shall bear up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. 13, thou shalt tread upon a lion and an adder, and a young lion and a dragon shalt thou trample under feet. Because thou hast set his love upon me, therefore I will deliver him. I will set him on high, because he hath known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble, and I will deliver him. and holy and Shalakia 15. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him in honor, and honor him. 16. With long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. Who's salvation for? Go to St. John 4:22. Salvation for the Jew. Now, it's not just for us anymore. It's for anyone who follows the Messiah. Anyone who has love in them. Stop being puffed up with pride. I'm tired of seeing my people get online, and when they get online, they're breaking other camps down, talking about people's like a dog, calling names. Whose spirit do you have? Messiah didn't do that. He didn't talk about people like dogs. When we do things in these days, if you don't want that coronavirus to get a hold of you and grab you, you cannot have fear. You got to pick this Bible up. You got to study. You got to understand that the Lord's words go out, but they do not come back void. I have immense faith in the Messiah. I have immense faith in the Most High. And I have immense faith in my people, Israel. Because I know we're the ones who got to give light to the rest of the world. And I know a lot of our people are going to wake up and stop being mean to other nations. A lot of people are going to wake up and know that we are the chosen people. A lot of our people are going to wake up and know another thing. They're going to see all the disease and destruction on this earth and see that it's not affecting our people, and it's for a reason. The Egyptians call us the Amnu. Amnu means the Most High's children. We're a holy people. We've just been taught unholy things. That's why the Lord said, my people perish for lack of knowledge. Get your knowledge up. If you get your knowledge up, you have your faith up. You won't have fear. The coronavirus is set here, and that's why they call it a smart virus. It is smart. No, they don't have a cure. Will they get one? I doubt it. Because that's just one. Now, get this. Coronavirus is just one of many that's coming. So I implore you to get your faith up and know that this coronavirus is set out here for a certain race of people. And what I want to say that, and what I mean is all races except for one. That's his children. Now, saying that, there's a lot of our people too who are going to get things, and this is the only reason why. As we just read here in Psalms 91, the reason they're going to catch it and catch things, and they'll be susceptible if they do get it, is because they have no faith and they're in sin. You can't walk two sides. You can't be lukewarm. You got to be hot or cold. I'm telling you people right now, you're going to see a lot of loved ones dying, as we just read here in Psalms 91. The pestilence will not touch you. He said it won't even come to your habitation if you walk with the Lord. I have a channel, Yabril Yuda, Y-H-B-R-I-H, Y-A-H-B-R-I-L, Yehuda, Y-E-H-U-D-A. I got a purple icon when you find it. It's a purple lion. I have a lot of lessons on there to tell what's coming and to tell how we should be in these last days. If you're not loving your brothers and sisters, and now when I say that, I mean us as Israel, the Negroes need to be loving each other, not always looking down and talking about each other and putting, because listen, in the end, we're going to have to stick together and come together as a nation. It is what it is. That's what the Bible say. But we got to practice now. Because when Christ coming back, he's separating the wheat from the tare. He said he's going to take the wheat and store it up in his storehouse. That's that New Jerusalem that's coming down to Zion. Revelation 21. But he said the tare, because remember, he's going to raise them up together. That goes back to the 10 virgins. You understand? They're raised up together. But in the end, when Christ comes back, because Christ is what? He's the bridegroom. Who's the bride? The Bible tells you it's Israel is the bride, or Jacob's 12 children. But when he comes back for them, he said there's 5 of them going to have their lamps empty. And 5 are going to have them full. And so they're going to run to go get their lamps full. And one's going to run back. Say, I got it. And when she knocks on the door and opens it, guess what's going to happen? He's going to say, get away from me. Not that I don't know you. He says, I never knew you. This is the message I want to give my people. Not only my people, all people. Anyone who follows the Messiah, who follows Christ, Yeshua, or Jesus, whatever you want to call him, whoever follows him, don't have hate in their heart, have genuine love. Because I'm going to tell you something. This is what people don't get. You think that you are fooling the Lord because of the things you're doing on the outside. Remember, the Pharisees and Sadducees would wear clothes and try to show their faith. They want to pray in front of everybody. That's why the Lord said, go in the closet. When you go in the closet, you pray in secret, I'll reward you openly. Don't try to show people how faithful you are, because people can't get you into the kingdom. When you got to go before the Messiah, that person that you sitting there trying to impress, or that lie you just told because you want to feel better or puffed up about yourself, or you're trying to get money and take it on the Lord's word. Basically, the Lord said, Christ said this here, when you go into a city, this is what he told his disciples. Don't take no money, no raiment, no clothing, nothing. He says, the Lord will take care of you. He said, give it freely, and I'll give it freely. You got to give it freely. Man should not be selling the word. This word is the only thing that's going to save people in the end. Right now, many of your relatives are going to die. Children are going to die. There's a lot of people are going to die. This Bible was given to a people, Israel, the 12 tribes. But it only works if you use it. It only works if you have faith. Remember what I said, faith comes by hearing, hearing comes by the what? Word. I implore you to get this word. Stop being afraid of coronavirus. It's only attacking certain individuals and it's attacking all nations except for Israel. Now, there's some in Israel who might get it, or probably will. I haven't seen it yet. But if they do, it's because they're in sin some way, some fashion. If they're not in sin, it's for another reason. Just like before the floods, when the Lord took away all the righteous men, and the only two were living was Methuselah and Noah. And even in the end, Methuselah died, and Noah was left with his 3 sons and their wives, and his wife. The same thing is going to happen. We got to understand that everything's reached to heaven right now. And if you don't do right, just like it was only 8 individuals to get on that boat, you understand? You're going to miss that new boat that's coming down from the heavens to collect the people in Deuteronomy 30 and take us up to the windowsills, as it says. You got to have love. You can't have hate. You got to know that this virus is for a reason. It's to clear the land. Like I told you to read American Holocaust, you'll learn that 140 million of us died as soon as they came over. The virus is going to clear this land. It's going to clear the whole world. Remember, the whole world is given to a people. And those people have to govern other nations. The only nation that will never have a nation again, and you read the book of Obadiah, is Esau. Because he said he'd have us in his land at the last days. And not only us, many other nations. That's that Mari clay in the Daniel 9 prophecy. The 10 toes, the 10 nations. You understand? With the Mari clay means that's all the other nations. And then it says there's a great stone, which is Israel, which is going to break it up. That's his children. I just want to give this little short talk today because I get a lot of calls and I get a lot of people who are afraid. It's not the time to be afraid. For his children, it's the time to rejoice. Don't think that it's going to get better. No, it's not getting better. It's going to get worse. But we need to rejoice, not be afraid. Our time is near. The birthing pains are here. And the woman is about to be delivered. All you got to do is look at the signs. The same signs now were the same signs that were in Egypt. But if you don't have spiritual eyes to see or spiritual ears to hear, or what I say, you got blinders on, you're going to be lost. You're going to be that tear that's burnt up. Thank you. Like I said, you can go to my channel, Yabril, Y-H-B-R-A-L, Yehuda, Y-E-H-U-D-A. You can go to that channel. It's a purple lion icon. And what you can do is see some of my lessons. And just like my friend said, you've been telling me about this 5 years, and now everything you've been saying is coming true. And like I told him, I'll take no credit. Moses took credit for smiting the rock. He couldn't get in the land. I ain't taking no credit. The Most High gave it to us by the holy prophets, because he said all of his words were inspired from him to give to these holy prophets for us in these last days. In these latter times, is coming to fruition. Thank you. By all means, to every race of people out there on this earth, because I love all people. I love my people, don't get me twisted, but I love all people because I've learned there's good people in every race. If you want to join us in this new kingdom that's coming, as Revelation 21 tells you, that's coming down with the 12 gates and the 12 names of Israel written on them, if you want to join us in the kingdom In Israel, if you want to be in the kingdom, I implore you to get yourself right. And if you're in fear, you're already part of the terror because you have no teachings. Be blessed. And as we say, shalom.